Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, as you know, I'm not one to give the SNP much credit. But in this case, I'm absolutely giving them as much credit as I possibly can for what I consider to be a genius idea. Literally, the best plan they've ever come up with. It is superbly genius. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, that when you see what this plan is, you too will agree. It is undoubtedly the best thing that they can do. They are absolutely brilliant for this, and I congratulate them on coming up with such a superb idea. It will certainly make the world a much better place. It's a shame they didn't start doing it many years ago. And I hope that once you see this, you'll agree with me, and I hope that this will be the video that earns that subscribe push. And you push that button now and help spread the good news. And this is good news. So do hit the subscribe button, do like this video, and we'll go in and have a look at what these people have done, what these geniuses have come up with, which is so good and which pleases me no end, and I'm sure will please you. Here goes. So SNP big hitters threaten to quit Westminster if they don't get their own way on Skexit in the latest madcap Nat plan. Basically, they are threatening to stay away from Westminster. I think that's genius. That is a brilliant idea. Just think, all those Nats that aren't in Parliament, first of all, free up space, a bit more time. Secondly, it means that they won't be able to interfere and get on with things. And thirdly, the people who voted for them in the general election will see that they're not getting any representation whatsoever, and will vote them out at the next election and vote for someone else. The Skexiteers are preparing to take a leaf out of Sinn Féin's book and stay away from the Commons as they look to resurrect the de facto referendum proposal. Well, to be honest, they're not a million miles away from Sinn Féin anyway, are they? But this de facto referendum, it's not a real thing. It doesn't exist, no matter what they do. And they can threaten to stay away from Westminster as long as they like. If they never turned up again, I don't think anyone would be particularly bothered. It's a fantastic idea, don't you think? I think it's one of the, seriously, the best idea that party has ever had. Stay away from Parliament. Just stay the hell away. Brilliant. A group of high-profile SNP politicians have thrown their weight behind a plan that could see the party quit Westminster if they don't get their own way on Skexit. Bye. Don't let those big doors hit you on the arse on the way out. Taking a leaf out of the Sinn Féin playbook, the Nats say they could withdraw from the Commons if the UK government refuses to play their de facto referendum game. Well, it is only a game because there's no such thing, as I say, as the de facto referendum. There's a referendum or there's not a referendum. The proposal could be considered for the SNP's conference next month and is the latest in a series of bizarre, weird and stupid schemes to force the issue. And none of them will work, of course. All of them doomed to fail. Doomed, as Fraser may say. The independence movement has been in limbo ever since the Supreme Court confirmed power for holding a vote on the future of the UK laying at Westminster. And Fraser always, my granddad was Fraser. You know, he wasn't actually, but he always he was, you're doomed and all that. He had that look, he could do it with the eye and everything. Anyway, Nicola Sturgeon had declared her de facto referendum plan in which the next general election would be fought by the SNP on the single issue of leaving the Union. Well, if that's the case, love, you've already lost. That proposal has now expanded, with Nats whinging and wanting to turn every election into a plebiscite while ignoring the raft of issues important to voters, and also ignoring the fact that most people don't vote for the SNP, and that even 55% of their own voters don't want full independence. These people are lunatics. Nicola Sturgeon had declared her de facto referendum plan in which the next general election would be fought by the SNP on a single issue of leaving the Union. And that would be very, very upsetting for her when she lost. And in fact, she changed her mind because she realised the moment they didn't win it, that would actually give the opposition a big hammer with which to beat them. The latest scheme clarifies that the Nats don't see failure to gain 50% plus one of the vote as the end of the issue, as they insist it would simply be pushed on to the next poll in a process that has been called the neverendum. However, the threats to pull out of the democratic process are likely to be most controversial and funny for anyone who's not in the SNP. I think they need to go with this. They need to show that they're serious and that they don't want to be at the heart of government and they don't want to help shape decisions that would decide the future of Scotland, because obviously they don't. Writing in the Herald, political correspondent Kathleen Nutt said the plan had the support of MPs Joanna Cherry, Pete Wishart and Douglas Chapman. So there's, the fact that Wishart's in on it is, it's automatically going to fail, isn't it? And Chapman's no better. Anyway, also throwing their weight behind it are former party treasurer Colin Beattie and controversial Glasgow MSP James Dornan, who's leaving to spend more time being miserable. And I keep saying it's James Dornan, not Jamie Dornan. One thing is not the other thing, let me tell you. In a column, Ms. Nutt says the new proposal states that the SNP, along with other pro-separatist parties like the Greens and Alba, win one vote over 50% in the national election. That constitutes a mandate for Scotland to become an independent country with immediate effect. No, it doesn't. Absolutely no, it doesn't. And if you even think that, then you're an even bigger moron than even I thought so. It then proposes that if the government does not meaningfully engage with the Scottish government within 90 days of the vote, the party would withdraw their MPs. It would then ignore the UK government and call a national convention to take forward the establishment of an independent country. Oh, I see. So they're not just not pulling out. They still want to go to Parliament. They still want to earn their money. They're just threatening that they won't go to Parliament should a very, very unlikely set of occurrences happen. Right, yeah. They're not preparing to give up their salaries then. If the plan were to happen, it would put the SNP on a par with Sinn Féin, the political wing of the IRA. Its MPs already refused to take their seat at Westminster. And we previously reported that Mr Wishart had unveiled his own plan B for breaking up Britain, which involved him hiding in a shed, crying and wishing, and hoping that a fairy would come along and do him a little wish. Wouldn't be the first time. He said, we need to now say clearly that if 50 plus 1% of the Scottish people vote for an SNP manifesto, that proclaims that Scotland will become an independent country. Never in a million years. It won't. It just simply won't. It's got no legal bearing in international law for a start, and no other country would recognise Scotland as an independent country. These people live in a world of make-believe, and it isn't even a pretty one. There's no rainbows and unicorns in their world. It's all darkness, destruction, misery and poverty. Sad people, aren't they? And I noticed that they threaten to give up their seats, but it turns out they're not actually going to give up their seats because they like the money. Deary me. Round up and come up. Isn't it a shame that they don't have the spine to just go out and say, right, we're not sitting until we get it? They're not going to do that, are they? They're cowards. And they're fools and they're morons, and we all know it. There isn't a hope in hell of them getting 50% plus one vote. It isn't going to happen. And like I say, even members of their own supporters don't want a full independence. It has to go to a full national referendum. It's the only way it's recognised in international law for a start. And if they think that they're going to join the EU, they've got another thing coming. A little bit of a hard border. Throw the little hard border up at the Scottish border, and let's see how far they get. Next thing you know, they'll be banging the door going, please let us back, please let us back, we're sorry. You thought the terms of Darien were bad. Dear heavens to Betsy. Anyway, I shall finish there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, do please hit that subscribe button. Do as well, because it really helps, because it throws out there and widens the range that we can get to. And, of course, leave a like for the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. And remember, the SNP are all filled with bollocks, aren't they? Or everything they say and do. Pile of crap. Bye.